This is another 419 Grind exclusive. You're listening to the 419 Grind Podcast, Toledo's source for exclusive news in music, business, sports, and entertainment. This is an exclusive interview with the 419grind.com.
Dr. Victor J. Coleman Jr.
Blessings, brother. How you doing today?
Good. Good morning. Good Sunday morning.
Absolutely.
So try to keep that. But man, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, somebody just reminded me yesterday. I shared the flyer and they were like, man, it's about time y'all got back around. And it was like, wow, it's been some years.
Yeah, it was 2015.
Wow.
I think was the last interview. Yeah, 2015.
Some time has got away from us.
5 years. So a lot has happened in 5 years. I know last time we talked on the show, you did the Hydrate for the Homeless program. You were doing a thing with Mike Riley.
Yes, we did the boot camp.
Boot camp, yep, mm-hmm. yep. So now that 5 years has gone by, you are now Dr. Victor Coleman Jr. What happened? Like, what made you? What made you get to that? Want to reach that next height?
I wanted to be an inspiration for Black and brown boys around the world, to use my story of going from numerous run-ins with the law to, a PhD.
Right.
And when I walk in rooms and people say, you don't look like a PhD, that means I've done something right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always been the type, I want to break the mold. I don't want to look like anybody else in any industry or market. I want to always be, who I am authentically.
Right. So, talk about, your story is amazing. Like, I know you personally, but the story of Victor Coleman Jr. is impeccable. To go from, 9 arrests, something like that?
Well, the adult record was 6 arrests.
6 arrests, but it was 3 when you were
correct.
So talk about that a little bit, like going through depression, dealing with drugs and gangs. Going from that, what changed your mindset to be this person that you are now?
I think the biggest thing that a lot of people fail to realize or understand is that when you look at somebody going through those struggles like I was going through, so arrested the first time, first, second grade,
right.
and so forth, and it became a pattern. What it was I was trying to find who I was, right? And I didn't want to be like what I had seen, but I didn't know how to become who I thought I should be, right? So one thing I always tell people is that exposure is transformational. And as I got older, I started being exposed to things that were different than what I seen in my hood.
Okay.
Right. And by doing that, my imagination grew. And it was like, wow, you mean I could be that?
Right.
I could be that over there too. And it was like, wow, okay, I can be more than just an athlete or a rapper. I could actually be a true change maker.
Right.
And I didn't get it right away. Still had the run-ins and still, was trying to fight that identity that the streets give us, right?
Yeah.
You got a nice whip, you got some money in your pocket, you the man. And that's what I grew attracted to. I thought that's who I was supposed to be or who I was.
Right.
And I always tell people God has a funny way of getting our attention. And he took all of that stuff from me. And when I went for my second round of getting the things back, he took it again and was like, wait a minute, man, what? All right, I'm listening. What are you trying to tell me? And and that began to show me, like, look, you're bigger than a car with candy paint. You're bigger than 20-inch rims. You're bigger than, Playboy Vic.
Right.
And at the time, I didn't understand that. I was willing to settle for that because it was comfortable.
Yeah.
So several times. At 96, I went to Atlanta with my family, and I got to experience the Olympics. Stayed with some family members that were in Atlanta. I was exposed to something that a lot of people didn't get exposure to.
Right.
Transformational. I seen how these celebrities were treated, and I'm like, man, I want to be treated like that. You know, I want to be treated with some respect. You know, when I come around. And again, I was 16, so I didn't make the change right away, but a seed was planted for later on. At 18, I met an older guy. He was a Caucasian gentleman, and he taught me finances. Again, I didn't get it then because I was still trying to show off, you know, for the neighborhood.
Right. Yeah.
But he planted some seeds about the importance of life insurance and investing and entrepreneurship. Fast forward, here I am. Investing, life insurance is set in place, and I'm an entrepreneur. I didn't get it at the time. So there were several things over the years where seeds were planted, and then it just finally got to that point where it was like, enough is enough. There's a photo when I go and speak, I share it. It's my youngest son. He's holding $10,000 cash in his hand like this. Mm-hmm. And when I looked at that photo one day, I said, you know what? It won't change for your family unless you change. I was exposing them to the streets and didn't even realize I was exposing them to the streets.
Right.
Because I was thinking it was cool for my son to hold $10,000 cash drug money.
Right.
But that wasn't cool. He was going to wonder how dad got that money eventually.
Right.
Kids pay attention to what we do
more
than they listen to what we say.
Right. So, like, how do we take that away from or cover? I don't know. We can't like hide it from the actual reality of growing up in these situations or growing up in the hood. How do we change their perspective or guide them in a different direction when they see this all the time, even if it's not in their backyard or in their front yard or in the street or even on TV, on social media? It's everywhere.
It's definitely going to be challenging because we're fighting it from so many angles now.
Right.
You know, there was a time when you only had to fight it maybe from the TV or maybe from the neighborhood, but now you're fighting it from the TV, the neighborhood, the school, social media. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So I challenge parents to get involved in get their kids involved in programs, sports, right? Get them exposed to some positive people and try to keep them in positive environments. Growing up, I remember the older folks used to always say, an idle mind is the devil's playground.
Right.
Keep the kids active.
Yeah.
Keep them active
Right.
as much as possible. And one of the challenges in our community with keeping our kids engaged or active is we don't always have the resources, and I'll say the money to pay for them to be in this program or on that team or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other side is who's going to get them there.
Right.
If we have single parent homes and mom has to go work 2 jobs to keep the lights and the gas on, who's taking the child to the game or to practice? Who's making sure they get home? And that's an issue we have in our community that we have to address, and we have to get back to being a community.
I was just about to say that, like back when we were younger, if our parents couldn't pick us up from school or take us to practice, I had Cornell Talley, who was our basketball coach, who picked us up in the morning to go to school and took us to practice and brought us home at night. Yeah. So we had that. It was a community type of situation because my parents and him grew up together. So it's like now it's like you're not picking my kid up because I don't trust you.
I don't trust you, and it even goes another step where can't nobody tell my kid nothing. So if I can't correct your child because they've done something wrong, then let me step back, because it takes a community, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah, that is like that was thrown out the window. It
was thrown out because nobody wanted their child disciplined by anybody but them. And then the result in that is you don't even discipline them.
Yeah, that's the whole issue, though. It's like,
so you don't discipline your child.
That's why they don't.
I can't discipline your child. The system is going to discipline your child.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Because once you land downtown in their care, they're going to institutionalize you.
Yeah.
And they're going to try and program you and make you a robot.
Right.
Teach your child while they're young. And now that doesn't, because I'll be the first to say my parents were on it, right? I was in sports and so forth, but I was attracted to the streets.
Right. It's like parents back then didn't know the severity of the streets, or they didn't know the importance of redirecting us from the streets, because they had no idea that some of us were in the streets that way, especially with kids that grew up in church.
Yep.
It was like, okay, he's fine because we go to church 4 or 5 times a week. So they're not thinking about the streets. We never had this conversation of don't do this. Don't hang around this person. Our conversations were, we're saved. We go to church. Don't listen to this music.
Yep.
And don't do this action. It wasn't of how we prevent from being influenced by other actions or other music or other people.
We don't do a good job at preventative maintenance.
Yeah.
That's from our health to our wealth to raising our children. We don't. And I'm not exempt. I look back at different times or things that I could have done better to educate my children.
Right.
And help them prevent some things that they'll experience in life. But I didn't, because I didn't know. As you get older and you get some experience now, you realize what you did wrong or what you could have done better. I don't like the word wrong.
Right.
Because there's no blueprint to being a great parent.
Right.
But we have to have conversations. In our community, we don't talk about sex with our children.
We don't.
So we feel like if we don't talk about it, it won't happen.
Right.
And then the young lady comes home pregnant, or the young boy comes home and tells you that he got her pregnant.
Right.
But what were we to equip them for how they would feel with that experience to help prevent it? Hey, son, hey, daughter, right? It's going to come a time in life when you're going to start to feel a certain kind of way about the opposite sex or whatever. And when you start to feel that way, we need to teach you how to handle what it is you're feeling.
Right.
We don't talk about it, so we act like it won't happen.
Right. But what I think the issue is fear of, we fear that if we talk about something like that, we will put the thought in their mind, the sexual thought, out of ignorance and fear. Not that that's right or wrong, but out of fear. I mean, I'm talking about my own personal experience. If I talk to my son about, well, girls do this and guys shouldn't do this, and when it comes to dating, and when you're 14 and 15 years old, you're going to have this kind of feeling, or you shouldn't be looking at these videos on, like, out of fear. If I tell him about this stuff, my fear is that he's going to be attracted to it out of curiosity now.
That's true, but you have to remember that somebody is going to tell them eventually.
Right.
Who better than you?
Right. But I'm saying out of ignorance.
And that's a mistake we've made, but we've got to start correcting that mistake.
Right.
And we have to start now. We can't wait. So any parent that's listening now, depending on the age of your child, start preparing yourself.
Right.
To get comfortable to have that conversation, because it is going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My youngest is 13, and we just went through the puberty conversation, and it was a little awkward, right? He was like, Dad, like, I don't really want, but we gonna talk about it, because your body is starting to change, and I need to be there to teach you what happens to a young man's body as it changes,
right? Because
I want you to be better equipped going forward,
right? Like the Bible says, our people perish for the lack of knowledge, and that's when you talk about perish, that doesn't mean like figurative, like death or actual death. Perish as far as financially, sexually, mentally, physically.
Our quality of life perishes,
right?
Just by the lack of knowledge, and I think a lot of people are afraid that if they know, and I know it, a lot of people are afraid if they know, they'll be held responsible for what they know. Yeah, but you should want to know.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. That's the thought. That's the thought process behind that. Ignorance is bliss. If I don't know, It doesn't really bother me with everything that's going on right now. You can see that like everywhere. Ignorance is bliss. Well, I don't know about his situation. I don't know what the police were thinking at the time. I don't know what, and I don't care because they're doing their jobs. That's people's thought process that's behind this thing. Okay, they're just doing their jobs. I don't know what happened, but let them do their jobs.
Read a comment on social media today. It said, older Caucasian lady said, if you don't commit a crime, the police won't be called and you won't be killed. Huh?
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
When I worked for the utility company as a meter reader, and I was in the community that just had the shooting last night, I was there reading the meters. Bright green shirt, company apparel, ID visible. Right. I'm walking house to house to house to house reading meters. I had broken no crimes, no laws. I had done no crime. And the police was called on me.
Wow.
3 squad cars pull up. I'm like, wait a minute. So I come out, from the side of the next house and getting ready to go to the next and say, excuse me, can we have a word with you? And they said, someone just called the police and said a suspicious guy was walking in between the houses. What crime had I done?
Right.
I was doing my job. So for her to make that comment, it just shows you that in America, we're so quick to judge based on our experience instead of taking a step back and trying to gain an understanding of someone else's experience and why people feel the way they feel about what's going on in America right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of it's insane to me that people don't look at both sides of the coin. They only see 2 colors, right? And that's not black and white. Mm-hmm. It's black and white in some situations, but in this situation, this occurrence is black and blue. The police, they're just policing, and if you're black and you're not doing anything wrong, you're not going to get arrested or harassed by the police. Jay Farrell, who used to be on Saturday Night Live.
I seen that video the other day.
Right. It was 2 days after Ahmaud Arbery was murdered. He was walking down the street in New York City and they bum rushed him. The police like 3 squad cars? Mm-hmm. And for mistaken identity.
He fit the description.
Right. They said somebody said they saw a black man walking down the street with a gray sweatpants and blue and a black hoodie.
He fit seriously. Wow.
Yeah.
But this is America.
This is America.
And if we really want to change America, we have to be open to understanding and learning other people's experiences. And that's not just for Caucasian America, that's for minorities in America as well.
Right, right.
Based on that lady's experiences, that's how she feels.
Right.
If she's open to it, let me educate you on why I feel differently about what you're saying. So it's our duty to be open to explain that and hopefully be open to learning somebody else's experience. That's the only way this is going to change. It's not one-sided.
Right.
And as black people, we have to listen to the other side as well to get an understanding of why they feel the way they feel and not be so emotional, which I understand we are emotional about it because it is hurting us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like never before. Right. Is how a lot of us feel. But this has been going on since we were kidnapped and thrown on a boat and brought over. Right. I think we're making progress in America? Absolutely. Absolutely. And do I think this round of protesting and rioting and so forth is making progress in America? Absolutely. I am not a protester myself, right, or a marcher myself. I am not a rioter myself, but I do believe each piece plays a role. And I believe everyone has a role in bringing this change about. It's just like going to war.
Right.
Everybody can't be on the front line.
Right.
But everyone has a role to play in winning that war.
When I was talking last week, when I talked to T Diamond, or known as King Baby Black Diamond now, we were saying like this, sometimes a conversation plays a part in what's going on. Our conversation can spark somebody else's thought process to actually do something, or take what we say and expand or expound on it. It's like, I'm not like you said, I'm not a person to be on the front lines and be out protesting and rioting, because that's not me. If anybody who really knows me knows, I don't even do this.
Right.
I'm just a personal, I don't do the cameras. I don't do the voice and talking in public. I don't do public speaking at all. This is as public as it's going to get. But I'm using this platform to have conversations with you and other people that can help somebody else become that person who makes the change, or spark a conversation with somebody else who knows somebody else who can influence that person to make a change.
Absolutely. So you've learned your role,
right,
in this war,
right,
and it's up to each one of us to learn our role right now in this war, not just in the war of racism and police brutality, but the war of the lack of economics in the minority communities, the bad educational system in these communities as well.
Right.
We have to learn our role. And something that I feel is my role is to educate people on finances, right? Stocks is one of the things. Real estate is one of the things. Right. Budgeting is one of the things. Debt payoff is one of the things that I help people or mentor people through. What is your role in this whole big picture? Because it's bigger than just what we're seeing today.
Right.
Because once this fizzles out and goes away, because it does,
it's going to be something else.
It's going to be something else.
Right.
But everyone has to know their role for the long haul of this journey to truly bring change. Right.
And like we were saying earlier, like my thought process in this field of media is to get as much of us involved in this field, as far as podcasting, as YouTube channels, social media presence, just because we have so much talent and so much knowledge that we can share with other people that, they don't know. They don't know what we know or what we've experienced. So the more of us that are out here putting our experiences out there and letting people hear our voice, the more we will influence and motivate people to become better than us. Because that's what I want.
Absolutely.
I don't want somebody to measure up to me. I want somebody to be better than me.
Absolutely.
And take it to a different level.
I listen to a lot of the older generation. Our family has a weekly call, and some of the older family members have spoken out about they don't want to have these racial conversations at work. And I disagree with them. I think they're needed at work. Not to make things to create tension at work,
right,
but to share your experience. So the company that pays me in the daytime, they had 2 forums, and each forum one was almost 200 people, and the other one was just over 100 people. And I was up in the air if I wanted to speak in the forum, because I didn't know that I wanted them to know my experience.
Right.
But then there was a voice that clicked in and said, "No, Vic, you've said it before, and this is your move. You want to educate people on your experience,
right,
so they can grow." So I shared it on both forums, my experiences, just a handful of them, because obviously there's a lifetime of experiences of run-ins and different racial situations that I've had to encounter.
Right.
But I shared with them how, as the company sent me to a meeting on a dark back road one night, I had to go to this meeting. And if you've ever gone to a council meeting or anything, one of the things they do when they have the meeting is they say the Pledge of Allegiance. So I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right.
Only black in the room. When they're done, the guy leading turned around and says, "Thank you for standing with us." How did that make me feel?
Oh, wow. Thank you for standing.
How did that make me feel? I was singled out
in
a room full of white folks. How did that make me feel? I didn't even feel safe at that moment.
I wouldn't. I would feel so uncomfortable.
I'm on a dark back road in central Ohio.
Wow.
By myself.
Yeah.
And you say, "Thank you for standing with us."
Wow.
And that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
He felt comfortable enough to say it.
Right.
That's a problem.
Well, he was comfortable enough to say it because you were the only
Absolutely.
black man in the room.
Absolutely.
That's I think too many people are comfortable with doing that, with putting people in these bad, uncomfortable situations, and they don't think twice about it
at all. And so I shared that experience with the company, and they couldn't believe it. They were like, "Wow, we didn't even know you experienced that, and you were on our time." Yeah, I was working for you.
Wow.
You know, I've shared the experience of when the lady said to me, "You don't look like a PhD." And I've heard this numerous times. You don't look like a PhD. You got a PhD. You got a PhD. And it's like, wait, what do you mean?
Right. What does a PhD look like?
What does that mean?
Right.
Because I'm in a suit and tie when they make this comment.
Okay.
I'm not in my joggers and my tee.
Right.
I'm in a suit and tie.
Yeah.
So in my suit and tie, I don't look like a PhD. What do I look like when I got on my joggers and my T-shirt?
See, she wasn't talking about the suit. She was talking about the color.
That's my point.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because people will come to the defense and say, well, no. Well, maybe she was. No. If I'm in a suit and tie, what else is there left for you to judge?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, I didn't take it personal, even though it probably was personal. I didn't take it personal. What I did was I used it to my advantage, and I make it my point to never look like a PhD.
Okay.
I will never look like a PhD.
Right.
Because that's an image that somebody else created.
Right.
That I'm now here to change the mode of, because I want him or her who come from where I come from to know that they can get it too.
Yeah.
Because I was the kid who failed the second grade because I struggled with reading and writing. But now I am a published researcher with a PhD.
Wow.
Don't let them tell you what you can't be. You can be anything you want to be, but you first got to get them out of your head.
I failed second grade too for the same reason.
Wow.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep. I had a D in reading and writing, and my dad was like, "No, we can't let him," because the teacher asked him, like, "Do you want him to go on to the next grade? We can hold him back, and then he can do second grade all over again. He'll be a little advanced because he's doing the same things all over again." So yeah, they held me back second grade for reading and writing.
What was that experience like for you?
It was embarrassing.
It was very embarrassing.
As a 6-7-year-old?
Yeah. Yes, sir. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
So when I talk about trying to find myself, that was in that time window.
Okay.
When I talked about the first arrest, second arrest, so forth, trying to find who I was, because now I was this kid who had failed.
Now, let me ask you this. This is from my own experience. When you went back to second grade, did you have this chip on your shoulder, right? You felt that. I mean, I was bad that year. I got in trouble that year because I didn't want to be there. Like, I'm not supposed to be. I did this last year. Why am I here again? But I don't know if it was because I was embarrassed or because I was mad at my parents or the teacher for not letting me go on with my friends to the next class, next grade.
I was angry. One thing I will say, though, my mom put me in a different school.
Oh, okay.
That helped.
Yeah.
I was still angry.
Right.
But I didn't have to face my peers who had gone on.
Right.
So it helped a little bit, but that anger still was on the inside. So whether, it doesn't matter how much anger it is, if it's enough anger to spark, some rage for you to be disruptive, and it was there. And I did that. Second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, on up. Just, I continue that rage.
Yeah. And
I didn't realize it. It wasn't until 28 years old when I was standing in the mirror and I said, you know what? This is your life. And you have to take control of it.
Right.
28 years old. I looked in the mirror and said, you know what? If you want the narrative to change, it won't change until you change. So from this day forward, I'm in the driver's seat. I will not allow others to control my emotions or my reactions or, I can't give anybody that power. Now, I'm not saying you won't have times where you you have a flashback or you ready to jump off the ledge, but
right.
you have to grab hold of the steering wheel in life. Right. So one of the messages I do when I go speak is my life, my story.
Okay.
Wristbands I give out to the youth because I need them to understand that this is your life and this is your story. Your teachers have already set out on their path. Your parents have set out on their path. It's time for you to figure out what your life and your story is going to be. And everybody's not going to be given the same opportunities, right? The same chances. So you can make a mistake today and end up in jail the rest of your life.
Right.
So let's prevent that mistake if we can.
Yeah.
People see my mugshot and say, oh, he changed. Well, I can mess up a million more times and change too. No. Let's not wait until that happens.
Yeah.
Let's do it now.
Right. I don't want you to go through the same things that I've went through. That's why I'm sharing my experience with you.
Absolutely.
Because where you're at now, you want somebody to be at that point 10 years ago.
Exactly. What's the old saying? If I knew then what I know now.
Right. Yeah.
So because I didn't know it, my job, I feel, or my responsibility, I feel, is to make others know it or let others know it so they can prevent the headaches and the heartaches and the financial pains that I went through to get here.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing that I looked at when you started doing the financial was it Flying Financially Free?
Flying Financially Free.
When you started that, it's like that gives other people the choice to, okay, I'm not where I want to be now, but if I tap into what he's teaching me, I can be where I want to be within these taking these next steps. Like what are the? I'm not going to get too. I don't want to get too far into where you tell all of your. But what is that about as far as financially flying financially free?
Well, I mean, think about it. A flight. You cannot fly if you're weighed down. Right. You can't soar to the next level if you're weighed down. So being flying financially free is simply removing that dead weight, right? I see countless people now taking advantage of the easy pay option, right? And that's where, let's just say you go on to a website and they'll offer you 3 easy payments of. And so because, and it's psychological, because they offer you the easy pay, you typically spend more. They know what they're doing.
Right.
We're going to break it down for you. Well, now here you are committed to making this payment for the next 3, 6, 12 months for something that you probably could have waited for.
Right.
But we don't think that way. Now, I'm not saying if you needed a laptop per se to start your podcast and you ready to roll, and that was one thing that you did, that may be something different. That's an investment into your business maybe that you needed to do. But did you need to do a easy pay for the next Jordans that come out? Did you need to do an easy pay for that outfit?
Right.
We doing easy pay for stuff and it keeps us on the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
It keeps us in debt. And we have to break up with that. We have to part ways with that mentality because it's hurting us. So I try to teach people how to hack the system when it comes to real estate.
Okay.
There's a way to hack the system and create financial freedom through real estate. And when I explain this to people, they're so programmed to think about the big house way out yonder that they look at me like, no, you're not hearing me. And I said, no, you're not hearing me. You want to be free, you told me.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you how to go get that house. And I can tell you how to go get that house and have somebody else pay for it. There's a difference.
Right. Okay.
You can go get that house and you can go work for XYZ for 60 hours a week to make that payment and never get to enjoy that house.
Right.
Or you can make the temporary sacrifice to make the investments in yourself so that you can go get that house and somebody else will pay you through your investments so you can live in that house.
Wow. Yeah, I like that.
That makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we reprogram ourselves
on
all levels, and we were just talking finance, if we reprogram the way we see money, the way we use money, we'll be successful.
Right.
Tuesday night, I'll be holding a Zoom session, Stock Trading 101. I'm going to just talk high level about stocks. Everybody wants to know what's in my portfolio, and everybody wants to know, how did you make $14,000 in one day stock trading?
Ooh, okay.
But until you take the time to educate yourself on the market,
Right.
you'll never get to $14,000 in a day. See, they think, well, let Vic just tell me what's in your portfolio and I'll do what you did.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Because there was a strategy to what I did.
Okay.
But see, people only see the ups. Now let's bring it around. I lost money in the stock market that same week.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
It's not always up. There's going to be some downs. Overall, I'm winning in the market. But it required me to sit down and do some homework.
Okay.
And get to understand the market, get to understand the terms, right? Some trial and some error. Mm-hmm. I tell people the story. I put in, it was back in March, I put in $4,200 in the stock market. And I knew better on the decision that I made, but I did it anyway because it was out of emotion.
Right.
Listen, pause. If you ever make a decision based on emotion, I don't care if it's buying a car, buying a house, I don't care what it is, a financial decision based on emotion, 9 times out of 10 is going to be a bad decision.
Right.
Okay. So circling back around, someone had posted something in the stock group that said, hey, this company XYZ is merging with company ABC. They're going to go through the roof. And instead of me doing my homework, emotionally, I felt I was going to miss out on an opportunity.
Right.
I bought $3,000 worth of shares. They tanked.
Wow. Okay.
That makes a difference. So I made it a point that day going forward, I would not put myself in a position to fail because I knew better. I've been dealing with stocks for years and I knew better. And I still made that emotional mistake that I tried to teach so many people not to make. Right. So I went back to the basics, got back into the groove, and I started spending my time in the stock market, in the resources, books, videos, etc. And that day going forward had been in the plus. So that was on a Thursday or Friday. I lost that $3,000. Come Monday, my ego, my pride was like, you gonna man up and get this together.
Right.
But so I did, and I made $154. I felt like, cool. All right. The next day it was $243. Bad. And it just continued to go up. By the end of the week, I was at $1,500 I had made on the stock market.
Okay.
In a day.
Right.
Now I'm thinking, well, cool, that's some good money. I can live good. If I'm doing 500, my goal was $250 a day. So if I could do $250 a day, that's some good money. I don't have to work for anyone if I can average $250 a day.
Right, right.
But then it kept growing and growing and growing. So I set a goal for myself. I told my son, I said, here's my goal. Next week, I'm going to make $10,000 on the stock market. He said, you think? I said, that's my goal. I'm setting a goal. I'm not going to be super aggressive. I'm not going to be greedy.
Right.
But I want to make $10,000 on the stock market. He said, okay. I said, if I make $10,000 on the stock market, I'm going to build a trading workstation, all the monitors, and because I've got 3 monitors, but I want to build a true workstation.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was the deal. That week I made $11,000 on the stock market.
Wow.
So I shared that in some of the stock groups I'm in, and everybody's like, can you teach me? Can you teach me? So now I've got a stock course that I put together, and it's very high level. It's not $1 million. Obviously, there's going to be a fee for it because I have put my blood, sweat, and tears into learning this,
right,
to do it the right way. But it's changed my life financially. It's another avenue that has changed my life financially.
Right.
And then that week I did $11,000, and then come Monday I do $14,000 in one day.
Wow.
One day. So again, being a student of life is what I've learned to be. I know that the PhD in the educational journey has taught me one thing, if nothing else. I don't know anything at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I go in rooms and I listen more than I talk. People think,
right,
oh, Dr. Coleman's in the room. What do you have to say?
Right, I'm taking notes. Yeah,
keep talking because I'm a student.
Right.
That's how we get better. Too many of us want to go in the room and own the room, and we haven't done the homework.
Yeah.
To even we talk about the few things that we've learned along the journey instead of realizing that. Let's say I learned 3 things. But there's 7 other things in this this journey that I need to learn, but we never get to those because we're so busy talking about the 3.
Right.
I'm the guy that wants to learn all 10 things, and then I'll share what I know. So I sit back and just let other people own the room.
Yeah, I think that's very important for us as far as learning to learn from other people. Like, I have no problem with coming to you. It's like, man, I need, like, I don't know this. I need to learn this. I need to focus on how do I get better at doing this? How do I get better at speaking? Like, I'm not a good public speaker at all. So that's something that I'm learning to do. I'm getting better at this because I've done it over time. Mm-hmm. I've done it. Actually, it's only been since December, since I started doing the podcast. But I'm learning over time. It's like, okay, I watch this person, how they interact with their guests and how they speak on the microphone and how comfortable they are. And that's something that I'm always willing to do, is learn, get better at what I'm doing, or get better or learn something new to add to what I'm doing.
That's the key to success. That is the key to success. Like, the world is a huge classroom.
Yeah.
And if you go out your house and walk into that classroom and you learn nothing,
right,
you have failed yourself that day.
Yeah.
Every day we can learn something.
Right. I I commented on something yesterday, and somebody was saying about along the same lines of learning and making yourself better. Like, I went to college, right, for microcomputer business systems. That doesn't exist anymore. Microcomputer business systems does not exist as a job. Mm-hmm. But I took what I knew in that and added to what I do now. I don't have a degree in anything that's important as far as to what I do, what applies to what I do now. I don't have a degree in my graphic design or in radio broadcasting, even though I've had 2 previous jobs in radio broadcasting. I don't have a degree in audio engineering or video editing. I didn't learn any of that in school. Right. I took myself and put myself in these situations to learn these things because this is what I love to do. I don't downplay people for going to school for arts and graphics and everything, but me, myself, as the way that I know how to learn is I set myself up and I build my own classroom. And I learned that way. I probably have a master's degree in YouTube University.
I tell people all the time, I get asked, how did you learn how to rehab houses, or how did you learn how to? I said, right, I graduated from YouTube University.
Exactly. Yeah.
And anything you want to know is on YouTube University.
Yeah.
And if you want to get better at it, go to YouTube University.
Yeah.
And even in the stock groups, the one guy asked me the other day, well, what stock charts do you use? And I said, well, I use the ones that are built into my trading platform. However, before I responded to you, I went to YouTube and I Googled, I put in what you asked. I copied and pasted his question and I sent him the link. Here's the response that I got. There's numerous videos out there to tell you how to read stock charts and all of that. Everyone wants you to do the work for them in this generation. No, go to YouTube University and learn it.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned probably 90% of what I do, I've learned on YouTube.
It's there for us to learn.
Yeah.
It's a tool.
I just think that people don't look at it as a tool of learning, or they just don't want to do it because they want somebody else to come in.
We're lazy.
Yeah.
And that's all people.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's everybody.
Not one gender. That's not one race.
Yeah.
People are lazy.
Right.
People want the results. And if you don't believe me, look at the amount of people getting plastic surgery now, right? The changing their bodies and so forth.
Yeah.
It's through the roof.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to do the work. Now, am I against it? No, I'm not saying I'm against it. What I'm saying is look at the amount of people, the increase.
Yeah.
There's less people putting in the true work it takes to transform the body. And it's the same thing with the mind. We don't want to do the work. Yeah. Oh, Vic knows. Well, let me just ask him. I've had people say to me in my text community, I'll say text, stock up to my number and people can come into my text community, and I talk about stocks and so forth in that group. And people say to me, if I share, hey, these are some stocks I'm looking at this week. These are not recommendations for you to buy, but this is just some things that I'm looking at. I need people to understand that I can't pick your stocks for you.
Right.
And legally, there's some things that I can't do as well when it comes to that. And I explain to people this time and time again. And every text I send out about a stock that I'm looking at, I always put a reminder. This is not a recommendation for you to buy. This is something you should look at. I'm just telling you this is something I'm looking at. Right.
Okay.
And I'm trying to teach people to get comfortable looking at stocks before you even buy them. Get comfortable looking at the stock market. And I always get this response. How much should I spend on this? How many shares should I buy? When should I sell these if I buy them? No, I can't tell you that.
Right.
You have to learn the system.
Yeah. I think I think what it is our mentality as humans is we want the results, but we don't want to go through the process.
We live in a microwave society.
Yeah, exactly.
I can pop that in the microwave, nuke it for 30 seconds, and it comes out piping hot.
Yeah.
And that's what we want.
Right.
Everyone wants to make $14,000 in a day.
Yeah.
But no one wants to do the work to learn how to make $14,000 in a day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
So when I broke it down, in one of the stock groups. I broke down what it is I do. I said, since I lost that $3,000, here's my day. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I begin to study the market for the day. I run my screeners to identify the stocks that I want to purchase. I have certain criteria. Then I run my charts. I read articles associated with those organizations. Is there a merger coming? Is there a earnings call coming? Is there a stock split coming?
Right.
Do they have a new technology that they're getting ready to release or a new whatever? I look at all of that before I make my purchase. And that starts at 5 a.m. I'm done trading usually around 11:30, 12. If you do that, if you look at that, and then in the evening, I get to looking to see who tanked that day, who rose that day, why, and I start to kind of get my mind wrapped around tomorrow morning. A minimum of 5 hours in a day is what I've put in, but I'm averaging 8 hours a day.
Wow.
And you want me to tell you my portfolio for free?
In 8 minutes.
In 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And even if I gave you my exact portfolio, would you be successful with it? Chances are no, because you have to know how to use the portfolio.
Yeah, yeah.
When did he buy that? So there was a stock last week. Somebody said, what did you pay for that stock? This stock had jumped close to $1 a share. I paid 16 cents for it. See, I can share my portfolio, but if you didn't get in when I got in.
Right. You're not going to be as successful as, yeah.
Right. I've got a lot of stocks that I've paid 10, 15, 20 cents for that have hit $1 or better.
Wow. Because
I take my time and I look for the penny stock that I believe has the opportunity to make me $14,000 in a day.
Right.
Now, will that happen every day? No. And I need people to understand that it's a snowball effect. I just mentioned I started with losing $3,000.
Right, yeah.
The following week, my first gain was $154.
Right.
It's a snowball effect. It doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
And I need people to understand that. Same thing with the real estate. Like I said, it's a snowball effect. You don't get to 9 properties unless you just born into wealth or you just, you hit the lottery or something. You just don't wake up with 9 properties. My first house was a cash house where they stole the plumbing and the kitchen was half missing and the bathroom was half functioning.
Wow.
$10,000 cash property.
Wow.
My realtor tried to talk me out of it. I said, nope, that's the one. Put my offer in. They were asking $10,500. I said, well, tell them I'll give them $10,600. I want this.
Right.
and they took my offer.
Wow.
See, people usually go down.
Yeah.
But I seen an opportunity to build generational wealth. So I went up $1 or $100 on it. Right. I knew. And now that's a cash flowing property for me. That's paid for. A year later, found another one for $5,000, duplex, run it.
Wow.
And it's now a process.
Yeah.
It's a snowball process. You snowball it on up. You don't get to 9 properties overnight. So people want to move out yonder. Now I can afford to live out there and somebody else pays for it because my properties are rented.
Okay.
But then I'm going to show you kind of landlord I am. I educate my tenants
on doing that same thing.
If you want to know, I'll teach it to you.
Right.
You tell me who's making money off of you that's going to teach you what they're doing so you can go do the same thing.
Right.
Not too many people.
Nobody. Yeah.
But if you win, I win.
Right.
That's my mentality. If you win, I win.
Yeah.
How do you leverage that paid off property to get you more? These are things I try to teach people because I've seen some classes that are available out there. Whew, $1,500 to teach you this. You're trying to teach poor people
right
how to not be poor, and the price tag is $1,500.
Yeah.
So I'm giving crash courses. I haven't come up with the exact price that my course is going to be, but it's going to be the crash course that will help you get started.
Right.
So you can get the $1,500 to go pay that joker over there if that's what you want to do. But I don't think you should do it.
Right. Yeah.
It's
all about taking something that, like, if you teach me something, if you tell me how you went through the process of doing something, I have to take that, what you taught me or that experience, and apply it and expand what you taught me in order to educate myself.
Absolutely. I've helped 3 people early on get cash properties. Told them what I did, walked them through some of the things, and they've done it.
Right.
The one just has now purchased for the first time. And I kind of been nudging them like, what you waiting on? Come on. Like, you got the money. They just purchased their first cash, their second cash property, but their first rental investment.
Okay.
They're nervous.
Yeah.
I said, well, listen, I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to coach you through this.
Right.
Because if you're successful, then I'm successful.
Yeah.
You're now a testimony to my program that helps people become financially free.
Right. I think a lot of us are afraid to invite people in, as far as what we know, because we're afraid of competition, with somebody being as or more successful than what we are, and I think that's our biggest issue as a community, is that we don't want any of our people, he's doing the same thing. I was just doing that. Why is he doing what I'm doing? Instead of inviting him in and saying, hey, you're doing the same thing that I'm doing. Let me help you along the way.
Let me give you some nuggets from my perspective.
Why can't we be more like that?
Because we praise the image in our community, and we don't want to lose the image, right? So right now, Vic looks like the stock guru around here.
Right.
And I'll be the first to tell you I'm no guru.
Right.
But I have done my homework.
Yeah.
Right. To some people, Vic looks like a real estate guru. I'm no guru. I've just done my homework.
Right.
And if I can teach you what I've learned and you become more successful than me, then so be it. That was God's plan.
Yeah.
How can I try to stop God?
Right.
That's the greatest force around.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let my insecurities step in the way?
Yeah.
Block my blessing? No. Listen, what God has for me is for me.
Right.
I don't want a cent more. I don't want anything more than what God has for me is for me. Because if I do, then it becomes toxic for everything that he did have for me, and my empire crumbles. And we have to understand that. We only are entitled to what God has for us. And when we become so greedy that we go after what God didn't have for us, our empires will crumble.
Wow.
We have to understand that. And people say, well, how you know, God didn't have you? Oh, you know in your heart. You know.
Yeah, you do know.
You know when you doing a jealous move or you doing a hater move or you know.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind, I spoke to a very successful young lady here in the city, millionaire status.
Wow.
Went to high school with her and her husband. Real estate portfolio's phenomenal, right? And those listening probably know who I'm speaking of. But we spoke the other night, and she called me to put me up on some game.
Okay.
She came across a resource that would help me. She called and say, "Hey, Vic, do." We talked for about an hour. Now, financially, I may be beneath her, right?
Right.
Her experiences in the real estate game are greater than mine,
Mm-hmm.
but she took the time to
Yeah.
call me and say, this can help you go to the next level.
Right.
We don't do that. Why? She's not worried about me beating her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
What she's worried about, because we talked about the real estate courses and so forth, because they're coming out with a real estate course.
Okay.
Right. And I said, well, bet. Y'all come out with your course first, and I'll promote your course.
Yeah.
Because it's still helping the people win.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not here to sell a course to anybody just to put money in my pocket. My passion is to see people win.
Right.
God has blessed me. COVID-19, I made it a mission. When I come out of COVID-19, I'm coming out better than I went in.
Right.
And I've had more virtual speaking opportunities during COVID-19 than I had speaking opportunities all last year.
Wow. So within the last 3 months.
Within the last 3 months, I had a meeting with the district attorney in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Their group for the youth, the youth detention staff. I've had the Detroit mental health community, and now I was even offered a social media brand ambassador for the mental health organization in Detroit. So now on my social media, mental health ads are going to be coming out with me endorsing them.
Okay.
Because this is what's happening during COVID, because mental health is a serious thing.
Oh yeah.
Right. And people think of mental health as I'm crazy on the side of the road, losing my mind. Mental health at the very base level is just thinking positive.
Yeah.
At the very base level. Now, I'm no mental health expert in the sense of going to school for mental health or anything like that. Now, I'm quick to tell people that, but I do understand the importance of mental health, because when I was stressed, depressed, and felt like giving up on life, I understood that my mental was not healthy.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking healthy thoughts.
Right.
And when I began to change the way I thought, my life began to change.
Yeah, I think we don't look at that, man. We don't look at we don't take that into consideration as far as mental health. A lot of us go through depression and go through anxiety about our lives or different situations, and we don't take mental health into consideration. We don't take the fact, okay, I need to take a break from life, as far as like being around people or being at my job. Take a mental health day.
Yep.
Take a mental health day, or after work, tell your family, okay, I need to take an hour or so to dedicate to my mental health. I need alone time. Not that I don't want to be bothered with you. I love you to death, but I need this for my mental health. Just like we take days. Okay, I need to go run. That's my mental health day. Mm-hmm. When I run, man, that's the best time of my life.
Listen, I got up and ran this morning 3.6 miles.
Wow.
And when I tell you that run is always, I can do I'm up to about 8-9 miles in one run, but just the run.
Yeah.
Is like, yo, I never thought that I would enjoy this. Like, I really enjoy, and depending on, try and take different routes depending on the run, and I just enjoy nature.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. And then there are other runners, and it's like, yo, you rock.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know, but it takes me out of, oh, okay, Vic, you need to do a Facebook Live, or you need to create a new post, or Did you call that person back?
It slows your mind down.
It just clears everything. And it lets me just enjoy a moment to myself. Something else I do to clear my mind is I take late night rides.
Okay.
Late night.
Yeah.
Turn the music on. Depending on the time of the year, crack the windows, open the sunroof, whatever it may be, and just ride. And I ride way out. I mean, sometimes I burn tanks of gas for no reason.
Yeah.
But it's not for no reason if my mind is in a healthy place.
Yeah.
So I'll ride and I'll look at houses. Like, yo, you're going to have one of them. About 2 more years, that's yours. Right? That keeps me, it reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing, or part of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it also lets me release from what it is that I'm doing.
Okay.
You know, I enjoy the architecture of buildings and homes and so forth.
Right.
So I just ride and I just look, whether it's small, whether it's huge, I don't care what it is. I just look. And then I try to imagine what the layout looks like. And, you know, just stuff that you enjoy. Take time for you. I learned this from Condoleezza Rice, 2012. I was in Atlanta at the LeaderCast convention. And she said, you got to use your calendar. And I've been using mine since. Learn to use your calendar. Schedule what's important. Schedule family time.
Right.
Schedule alone time. Just like you schedule those business meetings.
Right.
If you don't put it on the calendar,
you're not going to do it.
You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
I schedule big time. I block it out. And my phones ring with a million questions. And I've made myself so accessible that I'll get calls sometimes or texts sometimes 2, 3 in the morning. And if I'm up, which a lot of times I am, I'll respond accordingly. Now, if it's a crisis, you got me.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't want you to jump.
Right.
Please don't jump.
Right.
Like let's talk this out. Get off the top of that bridge. You know?
Right.
And that's figuratively speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people are looking for an ear and one that's not going to judge them.
Right.
I was sharing with someone not too long ago. I really don't have someone that I can bend to. I'm getting them now, right? Because I'm learning their importance. But I don't trust people with my information.
Yeah.
Because if I call you to cry on your shoulder, that's supposed to be between you and I.
Yeah. Yeah. But
the next thing I know is you done went and told so-and-so, hey, don't say nothing, but, Vic is over there crying because, you know what I'm saying? So-and-so. And then now you out in public and people are looking at you like, yeah, man, Vic was crying, man. Did you? And it just, for what?
Yeah.
So we don't, and as black men, we don't have those places.
No.
And I'm hoping in the near future we can create a place, a safe place where we can have those conversations.
Right.
And not feel like we have to walk with everything bottled in, because again, that goes back to mental health.
Yeah.
If we don't get that release,
right,
it's going to explode one day.
See, that plays a big part in our community, especially as black men, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are looked at as we're supposed to be this strong, unemotional creature that doesn't show emotions, right? We're not supposed to cry and be weak-minded. That's what's considered weak-minded.
Absolutely.
As a person who shows emotion, which is, that's kind of backwards. Not kind of, that's backwards.
It is backwards. Because
we are supposed to be, as fathers, right? I'm very emotional about my daughter. Mm-hmm. Not that I cry and but I'm very emotional as far as like when I do things, right? Or when I'm about to do something, that's the first person that comes to my mind, my daughter. How's this going to affect her? That's why I'm still single, because how's this going to affect her? I want the right person in my life that's going to love my daughter just as I do.
Absolutely.
So when I make the decision based off of emotion. When I go do something, I'm not going to do this thing because how's that going to look to my daughter? I don't post certain things on Facebook or Instagram because how's that going to look to my daughter.
That's a legacy mindset, though.
Yeah, because I don't want her to have this image of me. Mm-hmm. So every mistake that I've done in the past, right? Every time I've fallen, every time I've messed up, I have to talk to her about those things. Okay, I was messed up. I didn't make the right decision. So that way she sees me as making a mistake, correcting the mistake.
Absolutely.
And making a change.
That's kind of going back to what we talked about earlier when we talked about we don't like to talk about things with our children, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And my son and I, we were having a discussion one day. He was going through something, and he basically just said to me, "Dad, you're so perfect." And I said, "Wait a minute, hold on. That guy in that mugshot right there, that guy right there, he's perfect,
right?
Him,
right?
You're 18. He's 18 right there. Perfect. I said, see, son, you're judging where I am today.
Yeah.
Where I'm still imperfect today.
Right.
But you're judging where I am today versus where you are today. You're 18. I'm 40.
Right.
I was so imperfect then.
Yeah.
But just so you know, I'm still imperfect now.
Right.
And those are conversations we have to have with our children. Now, this is what Dad did. This is where Dad was wrong. This is how Dad has adjusted and tried to make it right.
Right.
That's where we have to get to as a community, as parents, as whatever. Yeah. You're going to make mistakes. You know, they talk I don't want to mention her name, so I'm not going to mention her name because I just refuse to give her the glory.
Yeah.
The young lady.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
She bashed Floyd.
Yeah.
The Floyd situation because he had been arrested before. So you mean to tell me he deserved to die?
Right, because
at one point in his life he was arrested?
Right.
I was arrested countless times.
Yeah.
But here I stand with a PhD fighting for the improvements of a community or in an organization and whatever. And if I die today, you going to go back to the fact that I was arrested in 2008?
Yeah.
That makes me deserve to die?
Right. That's crazy.
But in America, depending on the color of your skin, you're not supposed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you do make mistakes, it's a life sentence.
That's a life sentence for us to have had a tainted past. And that I think that's unfair.
Definitely unfair.
I'll talk to my son about that before he left. I said, because I don't care what kind of mistakes you've made. I've made thousands of mistakes, hundreds of mistakes before. I've been in bad situations. I put myself in bad situations. Use me as an example. Don't make those mistakes that I've made. Don't make the same mistakes that you made in the past. I want you to be. Well, before he left, he was saying, "Okay, when I get out to after I get my money from the military, I'm gonna get me an apartment. I'm gonna go get these cars." I said, "No, you're not gonna get an apartment. I know that. When you leave the military, you're not gonna get an apartment. You're gonna own a house. You're gonna use that money to buy a house. Don't make the same mistakes that I made." Well, do you own your house? No, not right now. But I'm working towards that. But I don't want you to be at 41 or 42 years old. How old am I? 42 years old. I want you to be at 42 years old and not own your house, own your home. I want you to be where I should have been at 18 to 24 years old when you done with your first 22 years old when you done with your first 4 years of the military. So you can have ownership is the key. I told him that ownership is the key. Don't make the same mistakes. Don't let other people have the luxury of saying, okay, Jordan was arrested this many years ago. Jordan did this many years ago. No, use me as an example.
Absolutely.
Use my mistakes as an example to make your life better.
Absolutely. And when he's ready to get that money, let me know.
Okay.
I'll teach him how to house hack.
Yeah. Okay.
So he can create true wealth for himself in the future generations to come. Because you're telling him everything right. You've got to remove yourself from those obstacles. Right. They're there.
Yeah.
And they're there for a reason.
Right.
That's how those in power remain in power.
Yeah.
Or by keeping certain obstacles in our way to trip us up. But yeah, when he gets to that point, let me know. Seriously.
I will.
Let me know.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure he makes a good financial decision that will change the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely will. I mean, that's. I told him that's the goal. Ownership is the. Well, I told him that after the conversation we had at the mall, we stopped and talked for like a half hour or whatever. And I was telling you he was about to leave, but yeah, I told him that after the conversation we had, you know, even that 30-minute conversation kind of sparked something in me to pass on to my son, and that's important that we can do that. I love that we can do that.
Absolutely.
Without any kind of judgment, without any kind of, you know, any kind of fight. We just exchange this information within a conversation that we can apply to ourselves or to other people.
That's how we grow.
Yeah.
That's how we grow without judgment.
Right.
That's how, oh man, he should have knew this, man.
Right. Yeah.
No. You learn this by being exposed to it.
Right.
I wasn't exposed to this.
Yeah.
You know, early on. Had I known what I knew now, then.
Right.
I mean, I had countless people say, you should buy a house. No, I'm buying no house.
Yeah.
You know, no. I'll buy a house when I get rich. You know, and I'm glad that I did it my way then, because those individuals didn't have the same vision that I had for myself or life.
Right.
And with that, what I mean by that is they had the old investor mentality where you buy that house and you pay for it for 30 years and you say, I did it. And when I bought my first home, it was a cash market. The economy was down or trying to rebound anyway. And I realized that, wait a minute, there's a better way than the 30-year mortgage. And in learning that, now I'm trying to teach others. Young lady in my text group, she was texting me. We were texting last night, and she just said, basically, she said, I absolutely cannot live in a multifamily home. And I said, well, why not? I do. As successful as I am, I still live in a multifamily home. It's not that I don't desire the mansion up the road. Right. But I'm still building my portfolio so that I make sure that I don't have to show up to anyone's building for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, however many hours in a week to pay for it. Right. Now, if you go back to my earlier stats on social media, you would see me say, man, I just put in 80 hours. Yeah. What the hell? I was praising this slavish mentality. Yeah. And I say that cautiously because I know people run with the they did that to Kanye. They ran with it. Yeah. But the slavish mentality, meaning I was working for peanuts. Yeah. For somebody else. And I was celebrating the fact that I was doing it. And when I put the post, it get 100 likes. Yeah. There's a young lady, I want to reach out to her so bad. Every day she's been posting. And I think Friday she said, I'm almost at 80 hours this week. And I just was cringing like, can I tell you what to do with the fine. You're doing it. Yeah. Can I tell you what to do with that money? Right. I so bad want to mentor this young lady and let her know that you're going to destroy your body. Yeah. Doing that.
And mentally too.
Let's take that money and put it to work for you. In our community, we say secure the bag, right? Right. But what about when the bag learns to secure the bag itself and you just sit back and collect what it has secured? Wow. That's transformational.
It is.
So if we can teach people that in our community, we'll have millionaires coming out of everywhere. Right. Teach. I put a comment on or a post up last week. How much money do you need to make a day in order to walk away from your job? Man, the comments were through the roof. 500, 1,000. I'm like, y'all just missed everything I asked y'all. But my goal was to get people to thinking, how much money do you need to make a day in order to walk away from your current job? And I don't think many took the time to think. There was one person who commented. They said about $250 would be good. Yeah. And I said, I agree. Right. Because if I eliminate my house payment and my car payment, all I'm left with is utilities and groceries, maybe a trip. And because I walked away from my job, I got to pay some medical expenses. $250 is more than enough.
Right. Yeah.
Because now I'm going to take that $250 and I'm going to invest it. So maybe I don't just make $250 a day. Now I make $350 a day. But I don't have to go stand in somebody's building for however many hours in a week.
8 to 10 hours a day, 70 hours a week.
You know, think about it. The average person, what is minimum wage right now in Ohio?
Shoot.
I know it varies. Let's just use
$9.80 something, $9.75.
Okay. So we going to roll with a solid 10, right? So if you work just 40 hours a week at $10, that's $400 in a week. What is that?
Well, that's before taxes.
That's before tax. So you're making 80 hours a day. 80 hours a day.
$80 a day.
But you need $1,000 to walk away from your job. I mean, let's think about this, right? So let's say you're a nurse, right? And you're making, they're probably $25, $30. So we're going to go $30. $30 times that same 8, they're at $240 a day.
See?
And that's before taxes.
Right.
$240 a day. So, but you told me you need $500 to walk away from your job.
Yeah.
It's in the way we view the dollar. That's what flying financially free is. I'm trying to get people to see it differently.
Somebody was, Damon John was saying that about people view the dollar the wrong way. He did it when he first started. He first started his FUBU company. Was $40 he had, and he bought 2 hats or 4 hats and sold them for $25. He did that for a few months and was broke. So he got another $2,000 and did it all over again and failed again. He was viewing the dollar wrong. He was investing in his own brand the wrong way.
Absolutely.
So he kept losing money until he figured out how to look at the dollar the right way and how to invest the right way in his own company and other situations so he can bring more money in. That's when he figured out, oh, this is how you do it. Now I can quit my job and do this 100%.
Absolutely. If we change the way we see the dollar, one, we have to change the way we see it.
Right.
And then if we change the way we use it,
right, our
lives will change forever.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm working towards that. Like mentally where I am now compared to where I was last year and where I am financially now to where I was last year it's a 180-degree change because I started reading different books. So that kind of changed my mindset.
You gotta read.
That kind of changed my mindset about finances and about investing in myself and investing in stocks and everything. So it kind of changed the way I thought. Changed the way I thought about my savings account and how it should be and should stay that way.
You brought savings up. Can I educate the people on savings?
Yeah.
I would like to ask our rich audience, how many of them have a savings account for the purpose of increasing their wealth? It's called the Rule of 72.
Okay.
If you're listening, go Google it. I'm going to tell you what it's about. But it's called the Rule of 72. Remember I talked about this old Caucasian guy at age 18? He gave me some financial tools.
Yeah.
The Rule of 72, this is how this works. So let's say a savings account. Let's just say, hypothetically, they're giving you 2% interest on your money. So we've been taught, hey, put your money in a savings account. You're going to make you some money, right? So let's just say Vic say, all right, I'm going to put 10 grand in this savings account. The bank is going to give me 2% interest. divide the interest that they're giving you by 72.
What?
The rule of 72. So I'm gonna do it for us, right? So you 72, and the bank gives you 2% interest. This is how many years it takes for your money to double.
What?
That's
crazy.
72 divided by the interest they're giving you. It tells you how many. So if I put $10,000 in and did nothing else to it, didn't pull from it, didn't add to it, it'd take me 36 years to double my money.
That's insane.
But they teach our community to have savings accounts.
Right.
You know what I did with my kids' savings accounts? They have them, and that's their petty cash for them to be able to, when they earn money, they put it here. If you want to save it to get something so you can be disciplined not to have it in your pocket.
Right.
I converted it into stock accounts.
So let me ask you, say for instance, hypothetically, I do have my money in a savings account, right? What I did was, let me say this first. What I did was I because I didn't see any growth in my savings account, I moved it from that bank into my other bank account, because I'm like, okay, I'm not making any money off my savings account. It's been sitting there for 2 or 3 years and it's not doing anything. Okay, there's 5 cents.
Yep.
2 cents, 3 cents. I'm like, okay, that's not worth it to me. Why do I have a savings account and it's supposed to help the money grow, and it's not growing? So I moved it to a different bank account thinking it was going to change. Guess what? Nothing.
Yeah, we don't because we don't know. Exposure is transformational. I got to get my shirt made. Like, design me something for it.
Okay.
If you get a chance.
I got you.
Like, exposure is transformational. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Had that man not exposed me to that at 18, and I didn't get it then, right? I was still trying to be Playboy Vic.
Right.
But fast forward 28, 30, as it started to click, as I read more and my education started to kick in, and it was like, wait, hold on. Y'all been robbing us.
Yeah.
Remember when CDs were big back in the day?
Right.
Everybody had a CD. Oh, yeah, man, I got a CD. See, we say stuff to sound like we doing it.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I got a CD. What is it doing for you? How much interest they giving you? Oh, do you know the rule of 72? Once we learn that, we can figure out that we're being robbed.
Yeah. The only money that I've seen grow is the money that I put into my 401k.
401k. And even with your 401k, diversify your 401k. Diversify it. See, people, and I'm guilty. So when I say this, listeners, please don't think, oh, Vic judging. I'm telling you from experience. So when I say people, I'm talking about myself from experience.
Right.
I had a 401k for years and never diversified it. The other mistake I made was I didn't max out the company match. Another mistake I made, I didn't increase the amount that I put in each year.
Yeah.
Every year, if you do nothing but go up 1%, and you can set it to automatically increase, you're not going to miss that 1%. And before you know it, you're saving 30% of your income.
Yeah. And don't even know it, especially if you get a raise every year.
And you don't even realize it. Now, if you think that because they gave you a 50-cent raise that you need to go to Taylor Cadillac or somewhere and buy a new car, shame on you.
Yeah, yeah. That's what we do, though.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Because we haven't learned that money is a tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool, right? I can build a house with a hammer or I can tear one down. It's a tool.
Yeah.
How are you going to use that tool? So now, like I said, with my sons, their savings account may have $100 in it.
Okay.
If they want to, Dad, I want to, let me take you to get your bread and you can go do what you do. Right. But even there, I challenge them. So you want to buy what? And what's the return for you? Not saying you can't go out and spend some money and have some fun,
right?
But I got to make them critical thinkers when it comes to their money. Transferred all of that into stock accounts. These kids are sitting on thousands of dollars that they earned.
Right, yeah.
And it's sitting in a savings account, earning them nothing. Earning them less than 2%.
Yeah.
And based on the rule of 72, we would be a fool to leave it sitting there.
Yeah, I got to talk to you about that when we're done. I don't want to,
Yeah. Listen. I'm here to help. So we got to stop letting the banks rob us.
Yeah.
We have to start educating ourselves on finances. Like I said, I moved them to a stock market account, and the stocks were up the other day. I'm gonna just hit one of the accounts just to see what they did the other day. So, my youngest son, for the sake of his privacy, I won't say the amount, but you can see the amount.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He's 13.
Right.
And just on that day, he had $99.37 gain.
Wow.
In one day?
Wow.
He's 13.
Wow. He's making money, not even.
So when I say, son, look how much money you made, because I got to give I want them to understand you never have to work for anybody else to be successful.
Yeah.
You only have to work for yourself.
Right. Let the money work for you.
Put the money in the places and let it work for you. Let the bag secure the bag, and then that bag secure the next bag, and then those 3 bags secure 3 more bags. And before you know it, it's too many bags for you to count. So then you go and be a blessing to somebody else.
Right.
My youngest kid on Friday made $99.37. Now, we just talked about minimum wage at $10.
Oh, he's only going to make $80 a day.
He's only going to make $80. He's making more than someone working minimum wage. And he's not even working yet.
That's important for us to know these things and to teach our kids these things. Like I really don't want my daughter to be working for anybody. I don't want my son to be working for anybody.
We've got to break that system.
I want them to.
Now, go ahead, finish your
No,
statement.
I'm saying I want them to either own their own business. He loves art and music. My son does too. They love art and music. So I'd rather them work in that field that they love for themselves. She says she wants to go to cosmetology, so she can do that too. And at the same time, learn something that will make the money the way,
How much better would you feel, right? You talked about how you like to do the graphic design and stuff, but I do also know you work a full-time job.
Right.
How much better would you feel waking up when you wanted to wake up?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Rolling over, flipping your design station open or coming to your design station.
Right.
Doing what you do. All right, I'm good. All right, y'all want to go out to eat? Let's go. Or y'all want to, let's take a road trip. Let's take a day trip.
Right.
And you're not worried about showing up to somebody's building.
Right.
Right? We're trading money for time. And the most valuable thing we have in life is time.
Yeah.
But we're giving it away for an hourly wage.
Right.
Once I figured that piece out, I'm addicted to the investing.
Right.
If we can get more people to understand that you can live rent and mortgage free, house hacking, or buy cash property, that you can make a small investment into some business, the stock market, something. And even if you make just as little as $250, even if you make $99 a day, you're making more than minimum wage.
Right. Right.
And you haven't done anything but put your money in places to make you successful.
Yeah.
Now, there's a pair of Jordans that I want. I want them bad. Them joints is fresh. But every time I see the price, I say, nope, I'm going to put another $200 into the stock market. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm eating good. My bank account ain't overflowing and nothing like that. I'm not going to sit here and tell no story like I don't have bills.
Right.
Because I went to college to get this PhD and it cost me something. And it's still costing me. But I tell people all the time, I got this education, or I went into debt for this education so you don't have to. That means tap into, ask some questions.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I want these Jordans so bad, but I just can't bring myself to pay for them because the price is ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
When I know that I can take that same $200 and that $200 will make me $1,000.
Right.
It just.
I said something similar a while ago. Was like whenever I feel the inkling or the urge to buy something that I know I should not buy, that same amount of money that I was going to put into what I was going to buy, I'm going to invest that into
Absolutely.
stock.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a shoe fetish, as most of us seem to have in our community. And I remember a few years ago, I donated over 100 shoes, thinking I'm done with this shoe thing. Guess what? I'm back over 100 shoes again. Yeah. What the heck is wrong? So, but the more educated and the more exposed I have come and the older I get, I realized that, you know what? Them J's is fresh, but they okay on the shelf too.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
many times are you going to wear those shoes, or how often are you going to wear them?
I pulled out a pair of shoes, all white, gum bottoms, all white gum bottoms. And I seen a friend of mine the other day, and she said, them is dope. You just copped them, huh? And I said, no, these 5 years old. She said, no way. They white. Like, I said, yeah, this is probably my 5th time wearing them.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I think we do that for the trophy. It's a trophy thing to us.
It is a trophy, because I've got shelves set up where my shoes are in boxes, lined up, color coordinated, whatever you want to call it. But for what? You know how much money is sitting on them shelves? And I was poor.
Yeah.
Poor.
Right.
Then. Like 2 pours. Like
it's a culture that's been built. I don't know. Is it from because Jordan came out? Was it 1985? He came out with the Jordan 1s, and the NBA, David Stern and the committee put a ban on his shoes because they weren't all white for the home team.
Right.
Home teams had to wear all white shoes. Yep. And his shoes, of course, Jordan 1s had the red and black in it, as well as the white. So because of the Jordan said, I'll wear them anyway, I'll just pay the $30,000 fine for each home game. 41 times 30,000 is, I don't know how much. But because of him saying the defiant role that he played in that, and wearing those shoes, we took that as, oh man, this dude, back then, 84, like, oh man, this dude coming into the NBA and creating his own image and being defiant against the man, against the machine.
Absolutely.
Fighting the machine. So so they adopted that culture, especially in New York. It wasn't just basketball players, it was skateboarders. They skated in Jordan 1s because of the defiant role that he played. So those shoes became an icon just because of that, because of the defiance that he played, and it became a part of the hip hop culture, because that's what hip hop is, right?
Yeah.
A rage against the machine.
Yep. But how do we create a shift, right? We got to create. We're at a place now. We got to create a shift.
We have to.
I'll tell people, and I'm honest. With both of my sons, I did something with them where I went and bought a pair of shoes that they were interested in. I bought them a pair, and I bought me a pair. Now I did that when they were younger. I remember my older son, man, we went and spent. I spent some ridiculous money to get us, I don't know, 4 pair of Forces, and we just loaded up.
Right.
And within a few months, he couldn't fit them. They were brand new, and I'm giving them away. Like, wait, I went and spent $600-700 on him a Pelly coat, and wait, next winter you can't even fit this thing.
Yeah.
We got to change our mentality.
It's bad investments.
So I'm not saying don't get you 1 pair, 2 pair, but do you need 100 pair? Right. And so with both of my sons now in their older age, we went together and we got a pair of LeBrons. And I wasn't a LeBron person. I like Jordan. So me personally, I think he's a phenomenal dude, but Jordan is my dude. Right. From my era. And with both of them, I got a pair of LeBrons at different times. And that was that bonding moment for us.
Yeah.
But I cringed in spending it because it was like, y'all want how much?
Right. Yeah.
But today, what people don't realize is a lot of people compliment me on my shoes, like those white shoes. I get my shoes from Burlington and Marshalls. I got a pair of LeBrons from Marshalls for $100. Bought my son the same pair, $100, and everywhere I go, people compliment those shoes. Those all white shoes that I'm talking about were Cobes, and everywhere I go, people compliment those shoes. I paid $70 for those shoes from Burlington.
Yeah,
I've got, man, I don't know, 15, 20 pair of Timberlands, all from Burlington.
Wow.
For $60 to $70 a pair.
Wow.
Now Burlington send me my check. I'm marketing it. But my point is I don't run to the mall, and I'm okay if it's not brand spanking new.
Right.
Because I'm going to keep them so long.
Yeah.
That they will never be considered like they just came out. But when I wear them, people treat them like they just came out.
Right.
I've had them Cobes for 5 years.
Yeah.
And people are giving me compliments like they just came out.
Yeah, we do bad investments when it comes to clothing, shoes. Like me, I don't judge anybody else. I don't pay more than $50 for a pair of jeans, which is the 501 or whatever Levi jeans.
Levi's. Keep it basic.
Right, basic jeans. This year was the only time that I ever went and got a pair of Jordans, which was the royal blue toe, whatever it was that came out last month. That was the only time I've actually wanted a pair of Jordans and got them in that way when everybody was, going out buy them. But regularly, Shoe Carnival and Dick's is where I get my shoes.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with treating yourself. You treated yourself.
Yeah, I treated myself with those.
But when is it no longer a treat? When you eat it every day? It's not a treat when you're doing it every day. So every pair of Jordan that comes out, y'all in the same line. It's not a treat anymore.
Yeah.
And if your bank account is hungry, you're feeding the wrong appetite.
Yeah. I started looking at that. That's write that down.
If your bank account is hungry, you're feeding the wrong appetite.
Yeah.
That's a status for later. So if y'all see that, just know that came from the podcast.
But it's like we look at money the wrong way. Like I did it for years. I looked at money the wrong way.
Absolutely.
I was always okay. I got this amount of money in my account. This cost $600. I got about $1,200 in my account. I got to pay rent next week, but I'm gonna go ahead and buy that.
Yep.
Because I want to do my podcast, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy that, and I'll just have to finagle some money around to get to make rent this month. That's how I used to think. And then when you think that way, that situation doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up being behind on rent, or behind on your car payment, or behind on bills. And so you start to struggle because you wanted that thing so bad. That was more important than your bills. Now, I don't brag about, how much money I make or my financial situation, but I can't remember the last time I've missed a payment on any bill. That's phone bill, light bill, gas bill, rent, 2 car payments, insurance. Like, I can't remember the last time I've missed a payment because I changed the way I thought about money.
Yep. It's got to be a shift.
It has to be a shift.
It has to be a shift. Something I challenge people to do to help them get on that path is to have multiple bank accounts, right?
Yeah.
So I've got my bank XYZ because I got to remember it. Ain't nobody cutting no checks. I can't keep plugging y'all.
Yeah.
I got bank XYZ where I have my online bill payment set up. I have so much money that goes into that account, and I have my bills automatically set up to pay. I don't set it with the company. I
set it with the bank.
With the bank.
Yeah.
Because it gives me power.
Right.
I don't want you to have my banking information.
Right.
I'm going to make sure they wire you or cut you a check.
Yeah.
On time.
Okay.
So you go in and set your schedule up based on your pay periods.
Right.
Don't put in just enough, put in a little more to make sure your account never hits 0 or negative.
Right.
Don't have a debit card for that account. Don't have any personal checks on the account. That's simply your bill pay account.
Wow. Okay.
And when you learn to manage your money that way, Dave Ramsey, had unplugged another. Dave Ramsey says you have to name your money, and that's how you name your money.
Okay.
I know that account is for bills only.
Yeah.
People don't do that.
Yeah.
We try to manage everything out of one account. And like you said, oh man, the new J's came out, or I want this new keyboard, I want this new laptop, or whatever it may be. Well, my account say I can afford it, but I do know that money that's in my account is for
that's not my
bills
money.
next week.
That's not my money.
So if you take it out of sight, right, and you take it where you can't swipe a card or whatever, you can't easily access it, that helps to start to put you in a place to be successful. That also will help your credit score go up.
Yeah.
Because you're paying bills on time.
Right.
But we have to change the way we see money.
Yeah.
And money is nothing but a tool. It's a resource. It's a tool. When used the right way, it can build. When used the wrong way, it can destroy.
Right. I agree. And I was destroying my personal life, my financial life. My credit was bad, terrible. If you call Lance Self and tell him the struggles that we went through to get my car 2 years ago, he would tell you that he had to fight. But this year it was a little different last year was a little different because I've made changes. And he was like, "Oh man, you did that. Okay, I see. Okay, I can work with this now."
That's my dude. I send anyone looking for a car, I send it to him. I just sent someone to him.
That's why I got that up there.
Yeah, I just sent someone to him the other day, and he was honest with the young lady and said, "Listen, I can get you out of here in the car, but it ain't gonna be to your advantage.
Right.
Here's what I recommend." And she wasn't. She was like, "I want a car today." And I looked at her and was like, "My dude telling you, I sent you here for a reason.
Right.
Because I know he gonna be real with you. If he telling you no go, trust him."
Yeah.
Now, if you go around the corner, they ain't gonna tell you that. They gonna take advantage of you to get the sale.
Yeah.
That man is telling you, he's taking a sale out of his pocket to help you.
Yeah.
He's not making money to help you. Most of it's so emotional. We like, no, I want it now.
Oh yeah.
They would have went to the next lot.
Right. Yep.
Right. This man is taking a sale out of it. I can get you approved today. The interest rate gonna be through the roof.
Right.
The negative equity from your car you're trading in gonna have you way underwater. I don't want to do that to you. Here's what I recommend.
Right. Take care of this and this and this,
and come back and see me.
That's what happened to me
help
the
you
first
be
time.
Successful.
The first time I went, he told me to fix this and then come back. So I fixed what I needed to fix. Took about a year. I came back. I was like, okay, I'm ready. Okay, you're not where you should be, but I can still get you in a car and a decent payment. But while you're doing this, make sure your payments are on time and work on this and this and this. So I did that for a whole year and came back and bought a second vehicle. Because I was able to change the way I thought about money and finance and saving money and making my money make money. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm better than what I used to be.
But you're not where you want to be. You're better where you used to be, but you're in the car, headed in the right direction.
Right.
And that is critical.
Yeah.
See, we too often in this microwave society think that if we're not where we want to be, we won't do it.
Right.
You have to get in the car. If the final destination, we're in Toledo, if the final destination is Miami,
right,
and you're driving or flying, you have to get in the vehicle.
Yeah.
And that first step to getting in the vehicle is accountability and making some hard changes.
Right.
We don't want to get in the vehicle because we want to be in Miami when we wake up in the morning. No, get in the vehicle and take the slow necessary. You said it took you a year or so.
Yeah.
It's a process.
It's a process. Yeah.
But we want to push a button and be there.
Yeah.
No.
Or we just don't do it at all. Say, you know what? I'm not even going to do it. And that's a lot of us do that out of fear. We fear failure. We fear success because success brings failure. So instead of going through the steps and making that fall and being broke for this long because you made this mistake, or losing $3,000 on the stock because you made a mistake or made a choice out of emotion, we just walk away instead of saying, you know what, let me buckle up. Let me learn from what I've done in the past, learn from my mistakes. And if I do learn from this mistake and move on and make this change, I can grow, I can learn, and whatever I went through, I can show this to somebody else. Okay, this is what I did. This is how I felt. And don't do that, or make these adjustments so you won't make that same failure.
Absolutely. We have to learn as we go. I just had a saying the other day, and I see it written down on the paper. If you want to grow, you got to sow. If you want to grow, you got to sow. Yeah. Right. And let's go back to biblical or whatever, you reap what you sow, yada, yada, yada,
Right.
It's been there forever. But if you want to grow, you got to sow. And you just said it. As you learn, you sowing it in somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. Now, one thing I'll say in our community that we have to work on is we think that sowing means giving everything away to everyone. And that's not what sowing is.
Yeah.
You should reap the benefits of your experience and your knowledge, your education, because you took some losses to get there.
Right.
You took some bumps and bruises. But I don't know. We think that everyone's supposed to just sow in us.
Yeah.
So we can make some money.
Yeah. Even when we have a business and we promote it online, or we post it on, Facebook or whatever, and it's like we always become emotional when, as far as, okay, you're not even sharing my stuff. Yep. You're not even liking my stuff. Y'all don't even shop with me. Y'all don't even come buy my t-shirts. Y'all don't even buy my product. Y'all don't even get your hair done by me. Y'all don't even come get your hair cut, or y'all don't invest in me. That's not for them to do. You do it.
Say it again.
You do what you love because you love what you do.
We get emotional.
Yeah.
I think we're going to call this emotional podcast.
Yeah.
You get emotional and you start to respond. I seen a young lady yesterday and she posted it, and she was basically saying, I see a lot of posts that say, if you're not popular, people don't support your business in Toledo. And she said something along the lines, well, I'm not popular, but my business is basically thriving.
Yeah.
And maybe y'all just don't have the go get it,
right,
mentality. And I'm paraphrasing what she said, but like, people get so down because somebody didn't share a post.
Yeah.
Or because
I used to be like that.
Because
recently.
And thank you for your transparency.
Yeah.
Like, that's not their job to share your post. Yeah. And the other, something I've learned is I'm cautious about sharing posts. Because I have a brand I have to protect.
Yeah. Somebody told me that too a couple years ago.
And when you share a post, you have now
you attach yourself.
You've co-signed that brand, saying that you stand with that brand.
Right.
And I have learned to be cautious about the brands I stand next to.
Yeah.
Because that can come back and bite me.
Right.
It happens to famous people all the time.
Yeah. John,
you take a picture with somebody.
Yeah.
And that person goes to jail for whatever.
Right.
They pull that picture up and say, well, Vic was standing with him.
Yeah.
Well, let's investigate Vic.
Right. Yeah. It was John Livingston. He was a assistant pastor at the church we grew up in. He told me that same thing. Watch the post that you share, because that person's that post could be okay, but that person's brand could be something that you don't really want to represent, and can affect how people look at your brand.
There have been people who I've wanted to share their business to help them be seen,
right,
by people that I'm friends with, right? Because my people could probably benefit,
right.
But the mess that goes on with that individual behind the scenes,
right, yeah,
can become attached to you,
right.
So I don't share posts.
Yeah,
I'm very cautious. I'm actually at a phase now where I'm looking for someone to take over my social media, because then I don't have to worry about sharing nobody posts.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking to my personal page. I've been trying to convert it. It'll be a business page as well as my business page. I don't even want to be personal no more, because I had a young man reach out to me. he asked me not to share it. I ain't gonna share his name, but he reached out to me through my text community and basically took a shot at me. And I'm like, yo. And paraphrasing what he said, which I could pull it up and read it word for word, but paraphrasing what he said was, I ain't ish because I ain't helping him.
Wow.
And in so many words, that's what he said. He said, you know, I mean, congrats on all your success, but you stepped on a lot of ninjas to get here. And I said, I stepped on who? Like, I was taken aback. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm like, what, you know, what it, I'm gonna read what he said. Man. I've got to read it because I need people to understand that just because somebody else is successful doesn't mean you're entitled to it.
Right. Yeah.
And he later explained to me that he wanted my platform. See, if you let a man talk long enough, he'll tell you exactly.
He wanted your, like, what you do. He wanted
my platform.
Wow.
So my social, and I don't buy into it. But again, I'm cautious about what I share because there is a following out there that I believe I'm responsible for. And my social media, my Facebook it's almost 35,000.
Yeah.
You want my platform. You want my audience.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm trying to I'm gonna find it real quick. But he wanted my platform, and I'm like, yo, like, my dude, like, there's a better way to go about getting access to my platform.
Yeah.
If you would have come correct.
I mean,
if you would have come correct, we would be rocking.
Right.
But you chose to come at me sideways. All right, so I think I found it. No, this ain't the one. But he came at me sideways like he was trying to check me. And I'm like, dude, that ain't.
That's not gonna work.
That ain't gonna work with me. That's not gonna fly well with me.
Right. So
I'm gonna find his name because I want to read it. I want people to understand. Like, it took me back when I can search names. Okay, this software is, I'm still new to it, so I'm trying to find him. Dang, I can't find him. My text community is well over 300 people now. I thank God that people trust me to feed them this information. Yeah, I can't find him now. But I mean, he wanted access to my platform. And I'm like, yo, come on, man. Like,
that's not how you get it.
You don't get it that way. And he basically just was like, you too boastful, you too this, you too, and I'm like, wow, like, boastful. What are you talking about? What? So me being me, I want to know, because if I'm doing anything that would make anyone feel, hey, you can't deal with everybody's feelings, but I never want to put out this image that I'm better than.
Right. Yeah.
And in talking to him, it was just like, dude, what? And I mean, I'm proud of you, man, but you know what I'm saying? When you was out here in the streets, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I just feel like you don't mess with me because I'm associated with so-and-so. And I'm like, dude, I ain't seen you in 20 years.
Wow.
How can I mess with somebody I ain't seen in 20 years?
Yeah.
Now, had you reached out and said, hey, Vic, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm proud of you, man. Let's, when you get a chance, let's chop it up. If you know Vic would have said, I'm about to call.
Right.
Or call me.
Right.
Because that's who I am.
Yeah.
No different than, we ain't talked since probably the mall, maybe.
Yeah.
You shot me a text and said, Vic, let's get together. And
right.
Boom. Let's put it on the calendar and we work that out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the type of person I am.
Right.
But for you to try and check me because life ain't going in the way you think it should go, for you, I was like, so my friends was like, yeah, Vic, make sure you just make sure you keeping your gun on you, because people don't know. And they form these thoughts, and we don't want your life at risk. And literally I keep my strap on me because we live in that environment. But why?
Yeah.
Do I have to keep my strap on me for you when I will help you in any way that I can?
Yeah.
I don't ride around with money in my pocket or nothing like that. So if you're running up and thinking you getting ready to hit a lick, you just practice. It's practice, dog. Cause, and for real, good luck. We're going to have a shootout.
Right.
Because for what?
I don't understand why we have that kind of mentality, though. That we rather be combative than to be conversational.
He said his reason for approaching me that way was he knew it would get my attention. And I said, you knew it would get my attention, huh? Okay, well, you got my attention.
Right.
We've had this discussion. I pray God's blessings upon you. I got to keep it moving, though.
Right.
I don't play like that, man. Like
that's crazy.
Like I'm so down to earth, and I help anybody.
Yeah.
And so it tells me, one, you didn't know me back then.
Yeah.
And two, you don't know me now, because I am the same as I was back then, except for I have a little experience and education to go with it.
Right.
No, I'm not in the streets every day anymore. And no, I'm not in nobody's clubs and bars, but I'm still the same Vic that was, I laugh and joke with anybody.
Right.
You know, we can get this money.
Right.
We're going to get it legally, but we can get this money.
Yeah.
And if we can't have them type of conversations and discussions peacefully, we don't need to have them.
Right. We got like 3 minutes left.
Okay. All right.
On the tape, so we can kind of wrap it up. I wish we can go longer, but you know,
I understand.
But yeah, it was. We can talk more.
We definitely have to talk more.
Talk again. Come back to the show. But everything that you know that was said before the show, during the show, and what's going to happen after the show is real.
Absolutely.
That we always have these real conversations, and I appreciate who you are, who you were, who you are, and who you become as a man, as a black man.
Thank you, my brother.
And I'm glad you can make it to the show.
I'm glad you have me. And let me just say this to the listeners: if you want to join the text community, it doesn't have to be just stocks. It could be real estate. Just use whatever word it is. If you need motivation, right? You just want to be motivated. Text that word. Text stock to this number. Text real estate or text motivate to 419-909-6196. And I try to push out inspirational content daily because I understand the challenges that we face out here on the front line and on the battlefield.
So how can people reach you on social media?
Social media, VJ Coleman Jr. VJ Coleman Jr. on any platform, from TikTok to Snapchat to Instagram to YouTube, everything. VJ Coleman Jr. Yes, I've earned a doctorate and people call me Dr. Coleman, but for real, I'm still Vic.
Right.
So, come correct and we can have that conversation. But if you come incorrect, then I'm going to correct you and make you call me Dr. Vic. I've had to do it before.
Right.
No, you're not going to be disrespectful, because I earned that title to show other young minorities they can do it too, but you're not going to disrespect that title because you're disrespecting them when you disrespect them.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Right. I feel you. Again, thanks for coming, man. We got to do this again.
Absolutely.
We'll talk after the show. So
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Blessings, brother.
Yep.
Toledo, rep your city. Visit us online at the419grind.com.